Hello folks, Jerry and welcome back to Rush Racing 2, and today we're gonna be doing a video that I wanted to do for quite a while. So basically, with the release of the iOS app, there's a lot of new players coming to the game. Also, if you do wanna start on iOS, I think you need to start over as of right now. I'm pretty sure they're working on a way to connect your Facebook account to your iOS account, but at the moment, you basically need to start over and you need to pick campaign cars. So in this video, we're basically going to be going over what I think are the best cars for each tier for the campaign, and I'm also going to be showing you guys how to drive them. And another thing, I know you guys love pinks, and yeah, this is I've been thinking about this for a while now. And thanks to Clayton, we got a free CCGT on stream a few days ago. And I am currently maxing it out, and I will be pink slipping it when this video gets 100 likes. To be honest, I'm probably gonna pink slip it regardless, because obviously I'm not gonna sell donations. But yeah, it's just you guys show your support for the channel, which you already are. Like the views and like all the support I'm getting are insane, and I'm really thankful for that. But the master also gave some maxed Bugatti quite a while ago, and we will be saving that for pink slips at a special occasion, which I already know what it is. Some of you guys already know what it is, but till then, yeah, let's go into the video. Alright, so when you start off the game, you will be able to choose from 3 cars. Now those 3 are, as you guys can see, the Focus, the Jetta, and the Celica. Now out of these 3 cars, personally, I have always preferred the Focus. It is the quickest one maxed out. It does max out at 967, which is the quickest of the 3. The Jetta and the Celica max out at 966 each. However, I do have to say that Celica is actually being used for lobby pink slipping quite a bit, so I would either, like, the Jetta is also pretty good for lobby tuning, but I think the Celica is the best out of the Jetta and the Celica. So personally, I do prefer the Focus. It's not as useful for being lobby tuned, but for tier 1, as far as campaign cars go, this is gonna be the easiest car to find pink slips with in tier 1 besides the Cobalt. So the least for this thing, I haven't driven it, so just excuse my possibly shitty racing. But the release for this thing is basically as soon as the second light comes on, and after that you shift right at the wall without hitting the rev limiter. So let's show you that. There you go, we shift at around 5.2k, and I did click the gear there, which is not ideal. And yeah, these cars, you do not shift into the 6th gear even with a maxed Focus. So there you go, that's how you drive the Focus. It is rather easy. If you guys want to see a max up for this, I already have it up on my channel along with the perfect launch tutorial. But this car, if you're really good with it, you will hit very high 9.7s. So that's also what the people pink slipping these are hitting. But yeah, this is a very competitive car, and it's basically an amazing entry point if you wanna get into pink slipping with maxed cars. I think like tier 1 is not all that expensive right now. So it's basically a great starting point for you to basically build up. So the Focus is my pick for tier 1 easily out of the campaign cars. So for tier 2 you have a bunch of different options. The first one is the Charger RT, the second one is the Mazda 3, and the third one is, hold on, where is it? It's over here, it's the Silvia. Now, one of these cars is much quicker than the other ones, at least in the max lobby, and that is the Dodge Charger. So this thing maxed out, it's 969. I never really ran these cars, so basically I only learned how to launch it for the purpose of this video, but it's actually not bad to drive. Had 2 runs where it got 2 perfect runs. So the Silvia is pretty bad maxed out. It's a very low 968. Basically without the aero parts and the body kits and all that, it's 967, so it's a pretty big disappointment. This is the car that I chose for my campaign, and I had quite a struggle with it. It's a nice car to drive, but it's not the one which I would suggest for tier 2. And the Mazda 3 is even worse. Now, the way this car drives is actually not that terrible. However, it is really slow. The Sylvia is a very low 968. This tank tops out at 967, so it's basically as fast as the Focus. It might be like slightly faster, but there's barely like a difference, and considering the tier 2 cars are more expensive, there is like no reason for you to get the Mazda 3. Basically the car that I would suggest for basically everyone is the Charger, so let's hop into that. As I said, it is 969 max out. It's one thing that I noticed is for this video I'm basically gonna be only running with boosted times, but just keep in mind that like vaguely from what I've seen so far, non-boosted times are around half a second slower. So I am spoiled over here, so please don't bully me for that. But yeah, let's hop into the lobby in a Charger. I should also mention that for all of these cars that we're gonna be running, Turbo is the conversion to go for. Supercharger is easier and cheaper to upgrade, but really if you want to pink slip your car, Turbo is the way to go. You will have an advantage over Supercharger, so let's go. So basically the release for this thing, just ignore the awful reaction time, is mid first light. After that you shift as close to the wall as possible. It will top out and hit the rev limiter because it only has 4 gears, but you will be able to do 9.5s, right? As you guys were able to see, like I did 3 runs and all of them were like mid to high 9.5s, which I'm assuming, I think this car cannot go down to 9.4s, but it's for my first experience with this car, it's actually surprisingly positive. I do like the Charger, even though tier 2 is probably gonna be like the black sheep of the tiers for pink slipping, because you know, like all of these campaign cars aren't really all that much quicker than tier 1. But yeah, the Charger is a nice car, it's just not a car that I'm really gonna go back to. So for tier 3 you have the exact same choices as you did back on Racing Rivals. In case you guys don't remember, those are the Evo, the SRT4 and the 2011 Impreza, and same as on the Racing Rivals, the best choice here is easily the Evo. In fact, this is one of the easiest cars to find pink slips with, and it's just a blast to drive. There's always gonna be someone pink slipping Evos in a lobby. So had my share of pink slips with this thing. At this moment I only have 2 because I sold and traded and lost the rest, but these cars are great. Now one thing that I should say is that I picked the Evo because for my campaign, and my friend picked the 2011 Impreza, and he actually had he actually progressed quicker with the Impreza than I did with the Evo. I'm not sure whether that's just a thing that happened randomly, or whether the Impreza is actually better for the campaign, but nonetheless, maxed out, this thing is a low 976. The SRT4 is a 975 and the Evo is 978, so it's obviously the most competitive out of the 3, even though you should still not pink slip against some of the other tier 3 cars, like the, hold on, what is it? Oh yeah, the Mustang. The Mustang is 980 maxed out and it's gonna beat Evos all day. This is actually a car that Katie-san gave us an amazing deal for a few weeks ago, so it's a car that I will keep. The release for this thing is on late first light. After that you shift at 8000 RPM. Let's go. Now I'm pretty sure I missed the launch there. However, even if you miss the perfect launch in this game, you can still get a really good time. So for the Evo that would be an 8.8. That's a competitive time, even though like some of the best racers will be able to go into 8.7s, like really high 8.7s with that with this thing, but it's just that would basically be an amazing run to get an 8.7. I'm yet to get one, and I did a lot of pings, so there we go. Just make sure to not short shift, because like make sure to not short shift or hit the rev limiter, because either of those is gonna kill your run. And if you're pink slipping this thing, the outcome is probably not gonna be very pretty. But yeah, that's an okay time. Obviously it does go quicker than that, but I'm really out of tune with my Evos. But this is still one of the best cars in the game to pink slip, hands down. Now for tier 4, once again you have 3 different options. The first one is the Challenger SRT8 and the Acura NSX is the second one. These two are the same as in Racing Rivals, but the third option is this, the Plymouth GTX, and it's actually the best of the 3, which is a thing I did not expect. This thing maxes out at 982, the Challenger maxes out at 981, and the NSX is absolutely atrocious at 979, which is kind of sad to see because I did like the NSX a lot back in Racing Rivals, and it's like, in my opinion, it is the best looking out of the 3, but it's also the slowest. And in this game, you know, looks don't mean all that much when it comes to pink slips. So the GTX is the best one. It's actually really similar to drive as the Dodge Charger. Like, I only did a few runs with this thing. Actually, Masson loaned it to me for this video, so huge shout out to him. But it's basically a quicker version of the Tier 2 Charger. So let's hop into the lobby, let's have a run. This thing, I believe, can go into like 8.3s, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and show you how to run this thing. Hopefully I don't mess up too much. Okay, I'm actually dead. This is one of the cars that can actually wheelie, I believe. I just shift right before the wall at 6k and it does give me good results. Same as with the Charger in Tier 2. Only has 4 gears, so it will top out near the end, but with that time I'm really sure that 8.3s are possible. So it's actually a surprising car. I didn't think it was gonna be as good as it actually is, but it's nice to see because, you know, some of the cars that were pretty garbage back in the Racing Rivals are actually useful over here, even though this one was not. I think it replaced the Challenger RT, which was A-class back on Racing Rivals and was awful, but it's nice to see that muscle cars are shining too. Now for Tier 5, it's the same as in the Racing Rivals, which basically means you have only 2 options. Now in the Racing Rivals, those were the McLaren 12C and the Dodge Viper, which are Tier 6 in this game. But for this game, you basically have the choice between the Audi R8 and the Porsche 911 GT3. And Porsche, it's nice seeing it, you know, as a campaign car, but the Audi is actually better. This thing maxes out at 987 and is actually one of the slowest Tier 5 cars in the entire game. While the R8 is not all that quick, but it's actually one of the easiest cars to find pink slips with, and it does max out at a very high 988, and if you put the proper parts on it, it will go up to 989. Now, I'll show you guys how to drive this thing right now, but just keep in mind that I'm pretty bad with the R8. I tend to run the Gallardo Superleggera instead of this thing, so this thing will do 7.8s. With a really good run, it will go into high 7.7s. But let me show you guys how it's done. Hopefully, I'm probably gonna fall or something. I absolutely fucked up the launch on that, so just excuse that. But for the release for this thing is basically just as the second light comes on, and after that you shift, well, you shift perfect, I think. I'm not totally sure about this car. I'm not doing too hot with it at all. Let's try again. Hopefully I'll get the launch this time around, but this is just a car that I don't run all that much. So let's see again. Actually a bit quicker. Like, I'm just careful that I don't hit the wall, because that's gonna kill your run in any car. Crossed at 7.8, so this is possibly gonna be a little bit better. No, it's a 7.9, so just ignore that. But if you practice with this car enough, perhaps it has some different shifting points. The R8 is just not a car that I'm really good at. I don't specialize with it, but it is the better out of the Tier 5 campaign choices, so I would suggest going for this one instead of the Porsche. Now for Tier 6, you have 3 different choices. The first one is the Nissan R390, which is actually really good looking. Then you have the Z4 GT3, which was R2 class back on Racing Rivals, and you also have the Viper, which used to be S-class in Racing Rivals. It used to be a campaign car on that, like I said previously, and you can actually upgrade to make it look like the race version of it. However, it's actually the best choice for For this tier, well, as far as campaign goes anyway, this thing maxes out at 997, the Z4 is the slowest at 994, and the RT90 maxes out at 995, but with the Viper I believe that very high 7.9s are possible. Sadly, I tried to get my hands on one for this video, I couldn't, so I will not be showing you guys how to drive it. However, I can tell you, the release for this thing, when you have it maxed out at 997, is basically on mid to late second light, and after that you just shift right at the wall. It's not a very difficult car to drive. Obviously there are quicker tier 6 cars out there, but as far as the campaign goes, this I believe is the best choice. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like if you want to see some CCGT pings, and yeah, turn on notifications if you guys want to see when I go live. But until then, have a good one. Goodbye.